Welcome in, everybody, once again to Titans Tube. My name is Justin. This is our co-host Jake here, and we're going to be bringing you the Wildcard edition of NFL Picks. Jake, something insane happened with picks last week, and so we're going into overtime, me and you here, in picking these games. So before we get into these playoff picks, let us know how you and I did last week and our total records throughout the season.
Yeah, definitely. We didn't exactly plan on doing NFL picks into the playoffs, but me and Justin went into the final week. I was up one game on him. Justin ended up going 11-5, and I went 10-6.
Just like my
Thus,
Titans.
ending our entire 17-week playoff pick series. Me and Justin tied in the amount of wins that we had racked up over the year. Incredible. We couldn't do it again if we tried, Justin. We could do pick series for the next 100 seasons of the NFL and probably wouldn't end up in a dead tie.
This is one of the greatest rivalries I think we have. This is like bigger than Titans-Ravens rivalry right here. Me and you picking playoff picks. I mean, it doesn't get more competitive than this. We're going into overtime. And we did. If you watched our video last week, we finally decided what's at stake. If the Titans won the division, and they did, the loser would be sent the loser would have to send the other a division championship hoodie, mail it to him. Hoodie. So we're taking this thing all the way to the Super Bowl, maybe, Jake. So we'll see who can get more games right here and just a straight up pick 'em for these playoff picks. Congratulations to both of us on just crushing it. And we're both winners here, Jake. We're all winners here at Titans Tube.
As long as we both had fun, I'm sure all of our guests had fun. I like to think that our guests had fun. So everybody's a winner. We made
a lot of friends along the way. The journey was so special. Okay. All right, let's get on to these playoff picks, Jake. We'll go in order here, starting on Saturday. I got to say, with the seventh team added, a triple header of playoffs on Saturday and Sundays does sound pretty sweet. It sounds pretty nice.
It's exactly what the NFL wanted you to say, Justin.
I know. They're going to completely own. They own both of those days now. They completely own America for this weekend coming up. So this first game at noon Central Time, we have the hated Indianapolis Colts. They still are in this playoff, Jake. At 11-5 record, they go on to take a streaking red-hot Buffalo Bills team who shredded the Miami Dolphins in their pretty meaningless Week 17 game to knock them out of the playoffs. Bills are looking pretty fine, pretty scary, pretty fine. One of their losses was on a Hail Murray. That's one of their three losses. They happened to lose to the Titans in a weird midweek game, COVID-related scare, but the Titans got the better of them in one of those games. I forgot who they lost, but I mean, you can count their losses on one hand. And this Bills team has had a really special season. AFC East champions. Colts also playing really good football. They were taking care of business down the stretch and really made it a tight race for this AFC South division. So I'll throw it to you first, Jake. What's your key here in this game? Who's going to come out on top?
I hate that we went in order because this is my upset pick of the wild card super weekend. I'm taking the Indianapolis Colts here. I think just Phillip Rivers has been there enough. He's played in enough playoff games. He's got kind of that experience, kind of edge over, a younger Josh Allen, who's kind of flubbed a little bit when it came to playoff time. You think last year against Houston, they had every opportunity in the world to win that game, did not come away with the win. It's definitely different this year with this Buffalo team, obviously with how they're playing, how they came down the stretch 13-3, yada, yada, yada. But I think their run ends here, Justin. Just for some reason, I believe in Frank Reich. I believe in these Indianapolis Colts to at least get one win in these AFC playoffs. And it's going to be this first week here against Buffalo.
Man, yeah. It's very tempting. The Colts are a 7th seed. In any other season, they would have been left out of the playoffs. But this is a very good 7th seeded AFC team. This is a very stacked AFC team in general, or AFC conference in general. I could very well see the Colts winning this game on the road, just continuing to just take care of business. I mean, this is a Colts team that beat the Packers not too long ago. They beat the Titans. They have some really solid wins on their resume. So And also, I want to mention Jonathan Taylor, dude. Where did he come from? Like, he didn't play in all 16 games. I mean, you had their starting running back go down week
Hines.
one.
Yep.
No, the Marlon Mack.
Marlon Mack, yes.
So you thought you were going to see, more of a running back split by committee. And last week, it was well after the game was over. I was like going through some of the games, and I was like, Jonathan Taylor ran for 253 yards. And it pissed me off. I was like, no, this is Derrick Henry's moment. He ran for over 2,000 yards and got 250 himself, and Jonathan Taylor outrushed him somehow. But Jonathan Taylor has come alive for this Colts rushing offense, and that's really, really what they needed, to really help out Phillip Rivers. I mean, Phillip Rivers needs help. He's effective throwing the ball, but he works best out of a balanced offense using play action. So with Jonathan Taylor running so well, this could be a dangerous game for Buffalo. A classic Titans tube move. I'm setting this all up, but I'm ending up going to go the other way. I'm sorry, Jake. I will oppose you.
Fair enough.
Hey, I understand. Okay. I understand wanting to go with the Colts here, because I think they do. If they come and play their best game, they're going to be a tough team. They're going to be a tough out in the playoffs. If they can, get past this Bills team. But I do like how the Bills are playing, man. They are red hot. Stephon Diggs, if not for Devontae Adams, even with Devontae Adams, he has an argument as having the best receiving season this year. Just totally taking that Bills offense to another level. But kind of like unlike the Colts offense, this Bills team is kind of one-dimensional-ish because it is a very high volume. Josh Allen throwing the ball, Josh Allen running the ball. He's definitely more of a runner than Phillip Rivers. That's an element that he absolutely brings to the table that the Colts don't, is having a very mobile quarterback. But it does seem kind of one-dimensional, right? I don't know what their rushing totals is, but I don't think any of their running backs were close to having 1,000 yards on the season. So we'll see if Josh Allen can shoulder this Bills team to win. I think they're primed for it. Phillip Rivers is experienced in the playoffs, but this Bills team, I think, is now in the playoffs for the third year in a row. Last year, they went into Houston and really were really close to beating the Texans. I think they ended up losing that game in overtime. So I think Josh Allen, is looking for his first playoff win as a quarterback, because I think last year was his first playoff game. So I do like how this Bills team is playing. I think they're much better than when the Titans first played them back in early October. So I like this Bills team. I think they keep it rolling, and maybe they can make something special happen out of this season. I think when they come to play, they are one of the best teams in the AFC. I think, on any given Sunday, I think they can compete with the Chiefs. I think they can beat the Chiefs. When they play their kind of style of football. So I'll give him this first round win. So I'll go against you here, Jake. Playoffs. These picks are already maybe shaping out for there to be a winner.
Let's do it.
So I'm really excited to watch that game, though. A very intriguing matchup, and they didn't meet in the regular season, I don't believe. So you like seeing two really strong AFC teams playing each other for the first time in the playoffs. The game after that, we're going to the NFC. These two teams have already played each other twice. Sharing that NFC West division. It's the Rams at 10-6 going on the road to take on the NFC West champs, Seattle Seahawks. Jake, these two teams split in the regular season 1-1. Both games were competitive but low scoring. It was a 23-16 win for the Seahawks. No, for the Rams in that first matchup, and then it turned around to be a 20-9 win for Seattle. In the second matchup, so not really convincing on either side. I'm guessing it was kind of a sloppy, low-scoring game. Kind of surprised to see the Seahawks offense shut down both times. But the Rams defense is one of the best in the league. So can the Rams, do it again? Can they shut down the Seahawks offense for the first time? Man, I'll throw it to you again. I have the first pick here, Jake.
All good. Yeah, I don't see the Rams getting it done in this one. Obviously, Jared Goff, questionable. I saw he's been limited in practice. Some players say he's zinging it around and things like that. But even with a hobbled Jared Goff, I'm not so sure, the Rams can go against this Russell Wilson and the magic of this Seattle Seahawks seemingly. They always seem, even if they are down, Russell Wilson always seems to pull the rabbit out of his hat in some form or facet and, leads this team to a victory. out of the jaws of defeat. So I'm going to go with the Seattle Seahawks here at home. I just think they have more to bring to the table as far as offensive weaponry. I mean, the Rams, loaded, but, I'd rather have Russell Wilson over Jared Goff. And it kind of boils down to that. Even, obviously if Jared Goff doesn't go, you definitely take Russell Wilson and the Seahawks here. So I'm going Seattle at home.
Yeah, I'm with you there. It's Seattle at home in the playoffs. This seems to be like almost a yearly thing for them. I mean, they are in the playoffs every year, but they do very often play at home here, up in Seattle, a tough place to play in January. I think that's just going to be too tough for the Rams to manage. I mean, they were at one point looking like one of the best teams in the NFC. They've have some really quality wins on the season, but they're just not really that consistent. I think that offense has taken too big of a step back. And I mean, you're going to have to put up points. And if they can't score 24 or less or 24 or more points, I see Russell Wilson being able to do that and taking his team over the top for this third matchup between them. So I do like Russell Wilson in this offense here. And the Seahawks at home really just kind of puts it over the top for me. I do got Seattle here. So the Rams, decent season, but coming up short once again, still not right back to where they were at that Super Bowl season a couple years ago, but they're good. They're young, and you got to love Sean McVay. I mean, they're not going anywhere. They're going to be back next year, probably in the playoff picture yet again. So that's going to be it for the Rams for me, though. Yeah, I got Seattle. The night game, Saturday nights, we got the Tampa Bay Buccaneers 11-5 going on the road to Washington at 7-9. The NFC East has a champion finally. It only took the entire 17 weeks of the season to decide it. You know what, Jake? I'm taking the Bucs. Okay, I'll take the Bucs. But this could be interesting, Jake, because how do you beat a Tom Brady? You get pressure on him. You get especially pressure up the middle and pressure in his face, because Tom Brady can't just bounce around and bounce outside and scramble around like a Josh Allen or Lamar Jackson or Deshaun Watson. So in this front seven for the Washington football team is a very solid unit. They get pressure after the quarterback. They're young. They're literally young. They have Chase Young, among a lot of other key pieces on that front seven. So that's what I'm looking at when I see Washington. If they're going to win this game, it's going to be their front seven winning this game. And, they do have weapons on offense. Alex Smith, we'll see how he's definitely going to be starting. I don't think he's at 100%. Hasn't played that great, but I mean, hey, this offense, Antonio Gibson, good looking running back. Terry McLaurin, he's kind of an unheralded wide receiver that is really good from the same draft class as AJ Brown and DK Metcalf. And they're kind of the guys that are getting all the attention from that rookie class. But Terry McLaurin is putting up numbers that are just as good. And he's become a very solid option for them at wide receiver. So it'll be interesting. We'll see how effective this front seven can get pressure on Tom Brady. If they shut down the run game and make the Bucs offense one-dimensional, and they can get after Tom Brady, well, things could get interesting. I'm just saying, it's the playoffs. And also an interesting note: these two head coaches, Ron Rivera and Bruce Arians, coached different NFC teams with the Panthers and the Cardinals, and they had some big-time games between them when they were two NFC powers. So once again, these two coaches seeing each other again in the playoffs, but with new teams. Pretty interesting there. But I got the Bucs. I'm trying to talk up Washington too, but I do think this could be an interestingly close game. But there's too much talent, and Tom Brady has too much of a resume, I guess. He's Tom Brady. This is the first playoff game. I think he takes care of business against.
Not his first rodeo.
Not his first.
Kind of what you're getting at.
It's like 37th.
A billionth playoff rodeo. Yeah, you've done this all year, Justin. I know your games. I know your tricks. Whenever you pick first, you always try to bait me into picking the upset here, and it's not going to work this time. However, I wanted to make this my upset special of the week. I really want to see the Washington football team kick out Tom Brady in Wildcard weekend for the second year in a row. That would be fantastic to see. I personally would love that. I still got the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I can't Trout experience as a key in a matchup, with Phillip Rivers and the Indianapolis Colts and make them my upset special and then go on to pick Washington because obviously, as you said, not Tom Brady's first rodeo in the playoffs. He's been there too much. I think Bruce Arians has been there too much to allow a 7-9 Washington football team to upend their season. So I got Tampa Bay.
Yeah, it seems like, and I know this is a very disrespectful thing to say to Washington, but it seems like they're kind of just happy to be there. They haven't made the playoffs in a very long time. They're just happy to be included and involved in a postseason game. So and they're gonna. And Ron Rivera's great. He's gonna have them ready to play the best game that they can. But I do feel like that's kind of where Washington is at. And that was kind of how I felt when the Mariota Titans in 2017. Jacksonville.
Just happy to be here.
We're happy to be there, and we ended up winning against Alex Smith's Chiefs of all teams, because Alex Smith here playing in this game. So. We both got Tampa Bay though, but could be interesting. I'm looking forward to all these games, honestly. We'll skip the Titans game. We'll save the Titans Ravens for last, but that is the Sunday noon game. After that, at 3:40 Central Time, we got the 8-8 Chicago Bears. This is where the 7 seed is kind of like, really, we have to let these teams in. I mean, no disrespect, Chicago, but they have not looked great this year, but winning 8 games after that 5-0 start was enough for them to break through. But they got to go to New Orleans, man, in the Superdome. Saints possibly without Alvin Kamara. Did he not test positive? Is he as scared to miss this first playoff game, or was that just?
I think it's because it fell on Sunday. As long as he's asymptomatic for that kind of window, that's been a moving target of the NFL. If the Saints landed on Sunday, which coincidentally, one of the NFL's biggest stars gets to be back from the COVID list. I don't think that was by accident at all. So I would expect Alvin Kamara to suit up.
It could have been interesting if he wasn't in this game, because I think he's kind of taken the reins from Drew Brees as really being the guy on their offense, because we have kind of seen a little bit of regression in Brees' passing ability. So it could have gotten a little interesting if he didn't have Kamara to lean on for those check downs and really had to take this team on his shoulders by himself. But I would have still taken the Saints then, and I'll definitely take them now since Kamara's going to be playing. I mean, the Bears just, you feel good. Mitch Trubisky, he's had an up and down season, but he's done enough to put his team in the playoffs. But, they're kind of limping in. They got pretty well trounced by the Packers in Week 17 when they weren't guaranteed a spot. But due to tiebreakers, Cardinals losing, they still make it in. They're kind of limping into the playoffs, not really playing well. Saints have kind of, they ended up winning. They ended up going 12-4, but I feel like people have been kind of up and down on them, due to kind of Drew Brees' availability and his ability. And the question marks, can Taysom Hill really do this week in and week out? And he's had great games playing quarterback, but they also lost to like the Eagles a couple weeks ago. So. Up and down, but, the Saints are still there. They're still the Saints, and it's still the Superdome. I don't think they'll have much of an issue with this Bears team, Jake. What about you?
I agree. I'm going to make it short and sweet. Obviously, the experience argument comes up again in this game with Mitchell Trubisky starting only his second playoff game. Obviously, the famous double doink was his other playoff game a couple of years ago. But I like Drew Brees at home. I mean, this could be Drew Brees' final ride. We don't know how long, these aging quarterbacks are still going to be around. So they're going to be giving it hell, man, in these playoffs. So give me the Saints at home.
Got you. All right. Let's talk about the final game to be played on Wildcard weekend, Sunday nights. We got the Cleveland Browns. Congratulations. Here you go. Here you are. First playoff appearance since 2002 at 11-5. What a great season it's been for Cleveland after all these years going on. Dude, it kind of sucks, though, because the Steelers have always kind of been, like you say, their big brother. They've always been, the team that, they always take care of business against Cleveland. I feel like the Steelers are Cleveland's most hated rival. Maybe it's Baltimore, but I feel like they probably hate the Steelers the most. And after all this time of missing the playoffs, they finally break through, and they have to play the Steelers in Pittsburgh. I mean, that kind of sucks, dude, just in general. And just in general, as a football fan, you'd like to see a little change up. And if they lose to the Steelers again in their division, their bitter, hated rival, that's going to really sting for them. But it'll be bittersweet still because they have made the playoffs. It's a nice final milestone-ish thing for them to even be here. Jake, I'll give this one to you. There's, of course, the Browns are already up against the wall because they can't contain COVID. Excuse me. So big time without their play caller and head coach Stefanski. So is that going to be it? Is that going to do it for them, or can they rally and still pull off this win?
Now, as kind of my adopted hometown team here in Ohio, I like the Browns. I like this Browns team. You know, I'm not a big Baker guy. I really want them to win this game, Justin, but it has to be said that, we brought up this statistic earlier in the year. You kind of heard it floating around that the Browns haven't won in Pittsburgh since the early 2000s. It's been nearly almost 2 decades since the Browns won in Pittsburgh.
Man,
so I don't see that quite changing as much as I really want it, especially with Stefanski out for this game. That's a huge blow. I think he's been the guy in Cleveland to kind of put it together and get the Browns to 11 wins. But I think Big Brother prevails again in this one, unfortunately. I got Pittsburgh.
Yeah, it's too bad. It's too bad. You'd love to see both teams at full strength coming into this game. Yeah, I kind of see it like that too. If they did, or if they were at full strength, maybe I would pick the Browns. Maybe that would just be like a emotional bias thing because I want them to win. I'll be rooting for them. So sure, why not? I'll pick them to win. But I mean, they definitely can. They have that ability, dude. I think they need to lean on Nick Chubb. They need to give Nick Chubb the ball. Kareem Hunt, establish the run and just keep themselves in the game until the second half and make a few plays. Maybe they come out on top. But the Steelers team beat Indianapolis when they were rolling a couple weeks ago, when a lot of people were down. After that 11-0 start, and then they ended up dropping to 12-4. That one other win they got was against the Colts. So that was a solid win. So this Pittsburgh Steelers team could be fine, more fine than a lot of people were giving them credit for. I am going to take them in this game at home. I do want the Browns to win since they're the lower seed. If the Titans win and the Colts win, I think the Titans would then. That's the only way for the Titans to host a second Cleveland playoff game. Yeah, we would be hosting Cleveland. The Colts would go to Kansas City. So I'm kind of rooting for that scenario, but I think the Steelers, they're too experienced. This is just almost another game for them. It feels like they're in the playoffs every year with a rare miss every now and then. They did miss last year, but that was because they were without Big Ben. Mike Tomlin, he's going to have this team ready to go. I think the Steelers will take care of business, but we'll see. We'll see if the Cleveland spark and energy can lead them to win. Because as much as it sucks that they do have to play their most hated rival on the road for their first playoff game in years, that would almost make for a better storybook ending to get over that hump, like you were saying, finally win in Pittsburgh. And for that game to be in the playoffs would be super special for that franchise. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, we both got Steelers here. And here we go. This is the last game, Jake. It's the noon game on Sunday. But once again, we got the Titans hosting the Ravens. We discussed this whole game in our preview video, so I don't know how much more detailed we're going to get here. But if you want to hear our in-depth analysis, check out our preview video for this game. But the rivalry's back, Jake. This rivalry that was at its peak in the early 2000s. Then you had the division realignments, but they were still matched up in some big games throughout the years. Ravens kind of had always been that thorn in the Titans' side. And now we're seeing it flip. Now the Titans are that thorn, that prickly thorn that just keeps bursting the bubble of Ravens fans. Can they do it for the third time in a row, Jake? And the road team has always come out on top in these playoff matchups between these two teams. Hopefully the Titans can change that narrative. But Jake, what's your takeaway here? What are we doing?
Yeah, it's so exciting to get this Titans team in the playoffs for the third time in 4 years. This franchise is turning a corner, first division title since 2008, yada, yada, yada. Yes, the Ravens are the hottest team coming out of the cannon into the playoffs, winning 5 straight. Obviously don't want to divulge too much just because we just filmed our preview video. I think Arthur Smith, I'm going to take your key, by the way. You can check the receipts. Justin said this in the preview, but Arthur Smith is shooting 100% right now for coaching vacancies, trying to interview him. He is going to be interviewed by just about everybody, unless somebody locks their doors and says, you can't go to the next team. We're going to hire you. So this playoff game and hopefully playoff games is going to be his lasting resume. Let's open the box. Let's throw everything that we got at the Baltimore Ravens. I got the Titans winning this game, Justin.
Boom. I love it. Because you are not a shoo-in to pick the Titans this year.
I'm not. I'm a wild card, no pun intended.
So are the Ravens, though, and we hate the Ravens here, Jake. What are you saying? All right, I'm kidding. I'm
a Raven.
Don't you dare. Don't go there. Arthur Smith probably playing his last game. Yeah, I would like to see that. You know, last year in the playoffs, we saw the Tebow pass from Derrick Henry to Corey Davis to have that kind of almost insurmountable lead. I think we're going to see some of that stuff. I think Vrabel, you know, he's always seems to have something up his sleeve. And, you know, we're going to see some stuff. We're going to see some new things that we haven't seen throughout the course of the season. But even that, you know, can Derrick Henry again do it to the Ravens? I know the Ravens have a lot of pieces that they didn't have during the regular season matchup about a month ago. So it could be a different story. I'm expecting the Ravens to sell out to stop the run. So it's going to be a big game. I think Tannehill in this passing offense has got to come and bring their A game and execute. And I think, you know, I haven't had an upset pick like you did earlier in the video. So I think I'm going to pick the upset because the Ravens are favored by 3.5 points in this game on the road. So that I realize that I haven't picked an exciting upset pick. I've been picking the favorites or the home team, at least I think throughout this entire video, but not now. Well, I'm still picking the home team, but they're the underdogs.
Yeah.
Anyway, a long-winded way to
crazy that's the only underdog pick you take is the Tennessee Titans.
Yes, of course. So a long-winded way for me to just say, I'm picking the Titans to win this game. It's going to be a grudge match. It's going to be competitive. The Ravens are salivating at another opportunity to take us down after ruining their Super Bowl run last year. So we'll see what happens. It's going to be tough. Another key, real quick, Titans have got to come out fast. We cannot come out flat in the first half that we've seen a few times this year where the Titans offense, you know, has to make a comeback and they get close, but they end up coming up just short. So we can't go down 21-3, 24-6 in the first half in this game, or it could be over. So got to come out ready from the first snap of the game to the end. 60 minutes of football, Titans, and let's get another playoff win. Exciting, Jake. Third time in 4 years we're in this playoffs. So let's do it. Let's do it.
Big
so
trust.
We'll see what happens. We'll see who picks more games correctly here. So we'll see who gets to send the other a division champion hoodie. I hope it's you because I might be broke.
Yeah, that stimulus check better hit, Justin.
I know.
That stimulus check is better hit.
I need that. Yes.
Yeah.
I can pay off all of my debts. So
yeah.
So that's I guess that's going to be it. That's our playoff wild card pick preview videos. Hope you guys enjoyed it. What do you guys like about this playoffs this year? What game are you most excited to see? If you're not a Titans fan, I guess. If you're a Titans fan, it better be the Titans and Ravens game. That's going to be it. Jake, you got anything else to take us out?
Nothing. Like, comment, subscribe, all that jazz. What a great season it's been, Justin. And let's keep continuing on. Let's trudge through these playoffs. Let's get a couple more wins under the Titans belt.
I'm not ready to say goodbye.
Tighten up. Have a great football weekend, everyone.
Agreed. Tighten up. You guys have a good one. Peace.